Hey guys, it's Shadow from SG TCG here, bringing you guys the Hannibal deck profile that's been requested. If you guys like the content, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment of what you guys would like to see. And without further ado, let's get right into this. So obviously we gotta have the alt art Hannibal leader card, because you gotta be in style. I ended up picking this up at a flea market, so it was kind of a steal at the time. I know it's gone down a lot, but I was so psyched to get it and I had to build it. So other than that, we'll get right into the characters. So it's my one drop Hannibal Searcher. So on play, you search the top 5 and you look for one purple Impel Down. This is great to be able to get into your Jailer Beast or try to find your Sadie. Other than that, the only drawbacks for this is, I'm bottom decking like my Kaidos or the stuff that is not Impel Down. So that's the only drawback. But other than that, this helps me get all my pieces together. There is another Impel Down searcher, and that is Buggy, but you can only find blue, and I'm only running an Azuma for a blue card, so it's not really worth running the Buggy. Next, we got 4 of Domino, our 2-cost blocker. She is good, so if I'm going second, I could put her down and then use Hannibal's leader ability to bounce a 2-cost or higher Impel Down, and I'll be able to ramp it down. So if I go second, got her in hand, pop her on the field, bounce her back to hand, I could use it for counter for a 1k, and I also get that 1 extra active Don, so then now following turn I'll be at 5 Don for my second turn, which is busted. And into the playmaker of the deck, I run 4 of Little Sadies. Obviously, 2k, biggest thing is her on-play ability. She's able to play a Jailer Beast type character from hand, and I'm running a lot of Jailers. Basically 12 of, so at least I have a target for the most time when I'm using her. And then, so when I play her out, I'll play out another Jailer Beast for free. So they're all 4 costs, so I'm playing it out for a cost of 3. And then at the end of the turn, Sadie's gonna get bounced back to hand, so I can ramp an active Don just to continue that ramp. Because the main goal is try to get the Kaido and play out the Kaido by turn. Shit, I think the fastest I did it was like turn 3, turn 4, the latest. But yeah, Little Sadie is clutch. And then we're gonna get into the Jailer Beast to combo with the Little Sadie. So I changed the Jailer Beast. I know in the videos I was running the Minotaur for the double attack, but I decided to change it to the Mino Zebra for the banish ability. A lot of the time, double attack, a lot of people aren't afraid of. They're going to take the cards, but banish, they're going to drop cards because they're going to want to see this card, their cards in their hand and make different plays. So they're either going to dump a lot of cards for it or they're going to KO this card right away. And then on KO, the Jailer Beast, I ramp Arrested Don. So if it goes, it goes. I get that extra Don, so I can be able to swing higher or play out more things the next turn. But yeah, I switched from Minotaur to Mina Zebra specifically for the banish ability to put more pressure on the opponent. So I really like this change compared to the Minotaur. You could run it at a different, 2-2, 3-1, but I think the banish is the way to go for the moment. And the MVP, second MVP, obviously we got Sadie. Mino Chihuahua. Obviously you guys saw, turn 1, if I go first and I have Sadie to Chihuahua, I'm swinging 5 with leader. Sadie, Chihuahua comes down, another 5. It's great to have a rush character in the deck other than the Kaido, so at least for early interactions I can swing in. And I'm not afraid of it dying, because if it dies, I ramp a Don. That's the main purpose of the deck with Hannibal. Bounce, active, and then my characters, I get arrested. So lets me get up to those higher Don quicker. So Chihuahua busted. Won me a game, especially in like the red-green Luffy game. I got lucky and saw all the Sadies and Chihuahuas. It was just a Chihuahua beatdown. And for the last Jailer Beast that I run 4 of the koalas. It's a blocker, so I usually end up with Sadie. I'll play it out. If I don't got Sadie, again, it's still a blocker. And then on KO, if it gets KO'd or dies, I get a rested Don. So if I play it out and it sticks a turn, I'm swinging with it, because then if they swing at it, I'm gonna get a Don for it. If not, I'm gonna continue to swing with it and then leave it there if I don't need it for swinging for pressure and I need it for defense. So These are probably the best jailer beasts to run. So the koala, chihuahua, and zebra. But again, it comes down to preference. And I know a lot of people have been running a different variant of Hannibal, but I'm running mostly an Impel Down package to have more of a consistency with like the Hannibal searches and, you know, just to be more consistent. So obviously we all know the main man, Magellan, missing 1 SP, but you know, it's still the alt-art. On play, Don -1, your opponent loses 1 Don also. And then on KO on your opponent's turn, it negs 2 Don from your opponent, so they're not going to want to swing into this, and if they are, they're going to lose 2 Don. Majority of the time Magellan will be bottom deck, but it's good to apply pressure because you're going to swing for 6 with them, and it might stick on board for a turn or 2 until they could figure out how to get rid of it without losing all their Don. And in like the scenario for Birdcage, for green purple Dolphy Birdcage combo, I was playing it on the sim, and what I was doing was bouncing the Magellan back each turn and swinging with them when I could, and then bouncing them back, and then I kept them from getting to 10 Don by continuously being able to play out 2 Magellans at the same time. So kind of busted combo in that scenario, but yeah, I basically locked out that Dolphy for the game with bouncing Magellan and continuously ramping at the same time, because then I would have counter events to get out of it. So card from EB01. This is the only blue Impel Down that I run in the entire deck, and it is Inazuma. Run it at a 4 of, so I do a lot of the time have no cards in hand, so I try to get Inazuma out onto the field because its ability at the end of turn, if I have less than 2 cards in hand, I get to draw 2 cards. So what I end up doing sometimes is I try to get stuff out onto the field like Sadie to a Jailer Beast while Inazuma's on the field, and then I could sequence the triggers. I can trigger Inazuma first to draw 2, and then I could trigger Hannibal to bounce. So I could get my hand up to, let's say, 4 to 5 cards. You know, if I had 1, I'd draw 2 from Inazuma, bounce 1, I'd have 4. If I draw 2 when I had 2, I'll have 5. So it's a good combination to use with Inazuma and the Hannibal ability to continuously, you know, ramp and still have cards in hand. You just gotta sequence it right. You want to make sure you're under that 2 mark, so we'll be able to trigger off Inazuma ability. Now we're getting into the cards that I'm running that are not Impel Down for characters. So I put in 2 queens. So I used to run the Impel Down stage to be able to search for more of my Impel Down characters. The only thing that was wrong with it was I would continuously bottom deck, you know, the kings or my Kaidos or different events that I needed to supplement. I think one game I bottom decked Kaido 2 to 3 times, and obviously it just went downhill for me. I had all the momentum and just completely lost it. So I swapped the Impel Down stage to add 2 queens in, so I could get a, you know, a 6k blocker, and I draw 2 and I trash a card I don't need, so I could at least cycle my hand a little bit to try to find something else that I need, or try to, you know, draw into Kaido a little bit better. But yeah, so I run queens at a 2 of at the moment. And then we got king. I run 2 kings specifically just for removal. It, you know, it could remove a 4 cost body for Don -1. So, you know, I only run it at a 2 of. I've played it a couple times, but it's good, you know, when you're going into Gecko or Sokka to remove Kuzans, but it just depends on the game. Sometimes I'm not even going to play it, but it's there for specifically just to remove stuff. Just like our main boss monster of the deck, Kaido. So I'm running this bad boy at a 4 of. Obviously, we all know what it does. 9 cost, on play, Don -5. You could KO a 6 cost or less, and then he gains Rush. So, again, like I said, with the Hannibal ability, bouncing like your Dominoes and your Sadies, if you have to, your Jailers, but a lot of the time I leave them because, again, on KO, you get arrested Don. So, if you go second, you bounce Domino, well, that's 3 Don. Your next turn, you're at 5. Play something else out, you bounce it, that's 6, you're at 8, and then the next turn, if let's say they KO a Jailer Beast, that's turn 4 Kaido. You know, it's crazy, you know, especially I've played a game where I had 2 Kaidos out by turn, I think it was like turn 9, and you're just applying so much pressure while removing bodies off the board. But yeah, you know, the main theme of the deck is to balance your stuff, get to Kaido, play Kaido, pressure. So this is what I'm always trying to find in the deck. Again, that's why I dropped the Impel Down stage card for the 2 queens to at least get a blocker. I don't search as much, but I'm not bottom decking the Kaidos as much either. So that's my game plan. And that is it for the characters. So now we're going to go into the events. So I'm running 2 of Gum Gum Jet Gatling. Obviously, I have a decent amount of cards that are not counter. So we have the 4 Chihuahuas, 4 Magellans, 4 Kaidos, 2 Kings. So that's what, 4, 8, 12. 14 cards that are non-counter, and then a lot of 1Ks. So the only 2Ks I have is probably just Little Sadie, to be honest with you. Yep. So I'm only running 4 2Ks. So at least with the Gum Gum Jet Gatling, I could chuck a card, get 3K counter. If it's in life and it triggers, I can get an active Don. So depending on the scenario, I could ramp from trigger, from life, or I could use it for 3K counter. And then into the new events from EB01, we got Gum Gum Champion Rifle. I love this event. It could backfire a lot though, but if the opponent isn't ready for this, you know, for 1 cost plus 2K, your opponent bounces an active character. I caught someone off guard with this so many times. They'll swing with their leader first instead of the character that they got on board, and their character ends up getting bounced back to hand, and it completely ruins their entire turn because now they gotta waste that Don that they had planned to play something else to either replay that character or play that character, and then they lose out on another swing. But it does backfire in like the scenarios against Gecko where they would play out Suru, or you know, or Sokka where they have Tashigi, brand new, or Suru, and then you know that's another search they could do, or another 2K, or you know another minus 2 cost. So a lot of the time this can backfire depending on who you're facing. But again, this could also throw her off their entire turn depending on the character you get them to bounce back to hand. And for the next one, we got Blast Breath. Amazing counter. 1 cost, Don -1, but it's 4K. This is like, I would say probably what, the Rad Beam for purple. So again, yeah, 1 cost plus 4K. This is kind of like one of those scenarios where sometimes I've used this at the wrong time, but you know, when you're applying pressure, you bounce something back, you're gonna have 1 active Don. So you could always play out a Blast Breath, you could always play out a Champion Rifle. So that's why I'm trying to play a lot of those 1 cost counter events, because I'm always gonna have 1 active if I'm able to pull off, you know, the leader ability. And on to the last card of the deck, we got Gum Gum Red Rock. I run this at a 2 of. You know, it's mainly for those, you know, when you're facing Uta, you're coming across a kid, or like Fortress Yamato. You know, this is kid removal, Gecko removal, 10 mom removal. You know, this can remove any card off the field for 6 cost. Pricey, but at the same time, you know, it answers a lot of those big bodies just to get it off the board. But yeah, it's a really fun deck. I love it. I went on a big losing streak, but it's just a fun time, just ramping like crazy and getting out to the big bodies, and it catches people by surprise. If you see everything in this deck pops off. But again, you could also whiff a lot of your stuff with, you know, the Hannibal search, especially like your big boss monsters like, you know, Kaido mainly, or you know, your king for removal, queen to kind of cycle. But other than that, it's a really fun deck, and it could pop off. I've beaten Katakuris with it, RP laws. It just depends on what's going on in the match. But yeah, that's it for the video, you guys. If you liked the video, drop a like, comment, and subscribe, like I said at the beginning of the video. And if you guys want to see more different deck profiles or different decks at locals, you know, just let it be known, and we'll try to make that happen for you guys. All right, catch you guys in the next one.